Thought I'd come out and see if I could do something with this rear valance. When I picked up the car, I didn't even realize it didn't have a rear valance, so I ordered one. I think it came in from Summit. Yeah, so let's take a look at that. So I attached with a couple of screws there, just a couple of little short 1/2-inch self-tappers with the big wide head there. And I mean, at first glance, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a rear valance. This side, took a look at these lower quarters have been replaced by somebody along the line, and when pushed in, I mean, it's not great, but it needs to go closer. This needs to be straighter, which that's one of the things I've done just since I started. I just grabbed this, laid it on a 2x6, and then tried to put my knee or stand or whatever on the curve here to try to get that a little straighter, because this is a little straighter. But the bracket is too long, and it's touching before this panel can get close enough to the quarter. So that's an issue on this side. And I mean, really, if that's all the closer it would get, I would be okay with it. I don't really care. However, passenger side, not so good. So I bent the bracket in just so I could even put this up where it needs to be. So I'm a good inch at the bottom short of where it needs to be. 1/4 inch, I mean, tapers, 1/4 inch at the top down to about a full inch here. I mean, I'm not worried about the bracket. I can reattach the bracket and get it where I need it to be. The issue is going to be, I'm going to have to actually extend this panel. The only other option is to slot these holes up here and slide it this way to take up some of this gap to balance it out with the other side. But I don't think it's going to be enough to make it look decent. But then if I go adding to this side of the panel, then that distance there between the backup light and the edge of the panel is going to be bigger. It's going to be lopsided on one side versus the other. So, I mean, really, what would have to happen is I extend, or I slide it over to get an equal gap, and then extend on both sides equally. Well, I don't want to do that either. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do at this point. I just need to think a little bit. I need to ponder on this a little bit. All right, so first I did try to oblong these holes here, slid it to the right to try to even the gap, and that just wasn't going to work. So here's what the plan is. I've got to shorten that bracket about 5/16 of an inch-ish. So I'm going to cut that, shorten that bracket, re-weld that. That should draw this up close enough that that'll be looking fine. Then over here, this is going to be the real pain. So that's just not even close. So I'm going to have to add a strip in here. Here's what I've done. I've cut the top off, cut a little sliver off. Now I'm going to hold that sucker back on there like so, and hopefully weld it and not make a mess. I want a gap in there. All right, now let me get a quick measurement here. Yeah, it's pretty close. I needed about 5/16 shrunk, and it's right around 5/16. So that should be where I need it. We'll take it out and see what it looks like. All right, with my shorter bracket in there, that definitely pulls up nice and tight. The issue is this part of the quarter panel is more straight than this valance. Because right now I'm hitting this bottom corner, and I think I could actually get the whole thing looking much closer. Much closer if that wasn't shaped that way. So yeah, now I got to figure out where to put my hole, because there's no holes in these. The new outer quarters don't have holes for this bolt. So now I got to figure out where exactly that is. Holding this up here with my foot, put a piece of blue tape along there to kind of give me a similar gap as what I've got on the other side. I'm going to take this down, throw another piece of tape on the back side of that just to kind of firm it up a little bit. Cut that off of the end, and then I think I'm just going to weld a piece on there. But I don't know if I can get the fold over part figured out, so but I'm going to give it a shot. All right, so here's what I've come up with. Cut a piece of the old quarter panel from the Thunderbird build. Put it in a vise. Got a little bend over there. Marked it out with the extra that I needed to add to the end of the panel there. I've got it trimmed, cut out to fit quite a gap in there. I might go slide that down a touch. I want to keep it as flush as I can. Oh boy, sorry about that. As flush as I can this way, so that when I grind it off, it's not a whole lot of mudding to keep it where it needs to be. So I'm gonna try to make this work. I'm gonna put a couple tacks in it, and then see if it fits, and then I guess I'll go from there. Seems pretty flush. And the wind out here is terrible. Did I shut the? Oh, I thought I. Apparently, I shut the gas off. Okay. Well, let's see. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be pretty flush. I'll have to bend this around a little bit with some pliers. Bend this one here a little bit. In fact, so this needs to come out a smidge. That too much. I have to do some more trimming on that. Actually, might work. Cut that little tab off the top, probably. But I don't want to do that until I see how it fits. Okay, that one's still good. Oh yeah, that's gonna be perfect. That once I get the bracket in the right place, that is going to, yeah, a little lopsided, but I don't think I much care. That's going to look almost identical to the other side once I get that all welded up. Well, that is good. That is a good thing. All right, so on to welding it up and relocating my bracket. Well, I ground these little tacks down some so I can kind of hit them with some heat and kind of melt them all in. There's a little bit, this might need to come down a smidge when I weld that. But there's a little bit of a dip in the middle where the seam is, and I'm okay with that, because what I'm hoping is, as I grind this off flush, that'll give me a little extra weld material there to keep this where it needs to be. But at this point, I mean, I'm pretty happy with how that has fit. And I mean, although it won't be symmetrical to the other side, I'm not sure it's going to be all that easy to see both corners at the same time to even know that there's any issue there. So I'm not sure I much care. Just want it done. So let's see if I can weld this up without blowing any holes in anything. Well, that doesn't seem to be. Yeah, the batteries just weren't making good contact. Yeah, I think I showed that the other day in another video. So those are my battery packs, and wired into the circuit board. And the negative end was not making good contact up in the tube. So I had to take them out, and yeah. So let's see, where were we? Oh yeah, I was trying to dial in this welder. Let's see. Pull that down into place. Well, now this is down a little low. That's better. Yeah, that's much better. All right, now let's see if I can grind this down, make it look like something. As you can see, as I've been grinding here, I'm hitting this and this and not that. So there's definitely a little bit of a dip there. So I'm thinking I may need to have a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll do all right. Good enough for Hoots 4. That'll fill and paint. All right, so to get the hole position here for the bracket on the underside, I'm not sure how well this is going to pick up here, but first I was swinging this up into position and just seeing if I could just make a mark. Then I tried to get my Sharpie up in there and mark around it, and that didn't work so well. So then I just set my Sharpie on the tip of the bolt here that I had locked in, and then swung it up into position and got a nice little mark where that hole needs to go So hopefully that will do the trick and I can lock this down. Really not sure what you can see here, but here I got double a problem. First, I got to get this relocated to the other side of this. So I'm going to have to mark where I want it over here. Then I'm going to have to weld it on. Then I'm going to have to get it back in here, push this up into position to see how long it needs to be. So this is going to be interesting. All right, so I cut the old bracket off, slid it over, put one tack in it just to make sure it was going to work. Took it out there, it looked like it was going to work fine. Tack the other side in, and so now I'm hoping I can put a bolt in that and stick it up kind of like I did the other one and make a mark and figure out where my holes get drilled, and then finally be done with this except for the body work. All right, so I drilled my holes and then I put a nut to lock the screw into place there, and lo and behold, it does go in. So I'm gonna push these in and put a couple of nuts and washers on them and see what this looks like. Well, there's the bad side, which actually is not that bad. Sanded with some 80 grit over that weld, so I'll just put some filler on that, smooth that out. And then the other side, I still need to straighten this curve out some. It's just a little too much curve on it, which brings the point down there a little too close. But I believe, for me anyway, that's going to work. I mean, it's good enough for who it's for. So that'll do. I think that project, although an absolute pain, yeah, I think it'll be all right. I'll just use self tappers across the top. Bottoms are the way they're supposed to be, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Throw a little filler on that weld seam. I couldn't resist. I went ahead and did a little body work there on the corner. Put a little filler, sanded it out, and put a little black paint on it. And I don't think anybody would be the wiser. So I may have to fiddle with the bracket a little bit, get the bottom corner a little closer. But that gap is way better than it was. And then of course over here, I tried to straighten it out a little bit at the bottom so it wasn't quite so curved. I think I did accomplish that there. So quite a bit of work for a panel that, you know, you pay for, that you think's going to fit. But yeah, it's hard to know what's been done to these cars over the years to know whether or not that's going to fit or not. So yeah, I don't think that looks bad whatsoever. Moving on to the next project.